everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. It is a great day here in Austin, Texas. I am in a good mood. I don't know if it's because it's bright and sunny outside, or it's because I went down to the Evo and Kyle had a good burger, the barbecue cheddar burger, and my favorite beer, Live Oak Hefeweizen. Of course, it could be the fact that I've been drinking before noon. One of those, you decide, let me know. Anyway, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, guys. Of course, going to talk Deadpool 2. Going to talk a little bit about this little thing that kind of got me upset, and I might go on a little tangent about. But first, I'm going to start off with a little story right off the top. So, it was reported by the Hollywood Reporter that Jake Gyllenhaal is in talks to play Mysterio in the untitled sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, Mysterio was introduced in 1964, written by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko in Amazing Spider-Man number 13. The character was a special effects and stuntman whose dreams of making it big in Hollywood ended in failure. He instead took his knowledge of illusions and turned to crime. Of course, fought many times with Spider-Man and even joined the group known as the Sinister Six. Looks like we know who the villain for the next Spider-Man movie is going to be. Whether it's going to be Jake Gyllenhaal, we don't know yet. Hollywood Reporter said that they are still in talks, so it might not go through. Remember, Gyllenhaal was also in talks with Warner Brothers as possibly replacing Ben Affleck as Batman for their cinematic universe, so we don't know what's going to happen. Either way, I have two thoughts on this. One, Gyllenhaal, if he's not one of my top 10 actors working right now in Hollywood, he's definitely in my top 20. So, great talent. Put great talent in anything, and I'm going to cheer for him. Awesome. Mysterio, I like that they are opening the door to Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery. We've seen the Green Goblin several times in films, and I like that they're venturing out to other villains. In DC, people usually say Batman has the best Rogues Gallery. In Marvel, it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man has a lot of good villains, and we want to expand. We saw the Vulture in the last one as Michael Keaton, who allegedly is going to do at least a small part in the next Spider-Man film. But then we got Mysterio. Some people wanted Kraven. There's a lot of other characters to do, but in any event, if Gyllenhaal does sign on to play Mysterio in the next Spider-Man film, I'm all for it. He's a great talent. I'm rooting for Spider-Man, so yay. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get to the meat of today's show, and that is a little film called Deadpool 2. The sequel to the 2016 film came out this weekend, did $125 million at the box office, and I went and saw it on Saturday. So, my thoughts? It was okay. The first Deadpool film was so different and such a surprise for everyone that it was great. This one had high hopes because of the success of the first one. And I gotta say, it was hilarious. Definitely a funny film. A lot of jokes about the DC universe, the X-Men universe, the Marvel universe, all that stuff. It poked fun at everyone, which is great. What this film lacked for me was really in the story. I feel like it wasn't as original, perhaps, as the first one. And it felt like they were kind of forcing their way through it as opposed to letting it come natural, which is kind of what more the first film was. But also, they were so keen on introducing new characters such as Cable, Domino, X-Force, all this stuff. The first film was not only very simple with just Deadpool and his girl and two X-Men. This one had a lot more to it. They were trying to introduce and open up the world more. And I gotta say, I think it was too much, really. Might be part of the problem. Now, as you guys know, I like to go spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film yet, go ahead and pause, come back when you've actually seen the film, or if you don't care about spoilers, continue to listen, because here goes. The hilarious part was actually after they formed X-Force, everyone died except Domino. And that was, one of the funny parts of the film. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, I thought was great. His story, however, about how he lost Vanessa and then had to find a reason to go on, which was saving this kid, Russell, I didn't buy it. Everything I've seen about Deadpool, that first film, and thus far, I just didn't buy it. It didn't come to me, I guess. Everything just didn't feel natural. And I guess part of it had to do with the fact this Russell guy. So Russell is based off an X-Men character. First appeared back in X Factor, the original X Factor, with Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, Angel. That first X Factor he appeared in. And he's kind of based off of that character. But this kid is a little whiny bitch. Okay? I did not like him at all. It didn't work for me. I will say, though, I did like the fact that they worked in that Mr. Sinister reference in there, the Essex school or Essex rehabilitation place, known for Nathan Essex, a.k.a. Mr. Sinister, which I'm going to bring up right now. They teased Mr. Sinister at the end of X-Men Apocalypse in that post-credit scene. They should have done the same thing here and, had him more set up. I'm dying to see Mr. Sinister up on the big screen, whether he's played by Luke Evans or whoever. Get on it, guys. I mean, this is a great X-Men villain that you're wasting unless you work on it and get it done. Okay, back to my point. The kid, he had to be kind of the heart of the film. We had to believe that this selfish clown known as Deadpool took to him and really wanted to help him. And I did not get that at all. He had to be the center of it, had to be someone that we cared about, and he was just a big jerk. He was a jerk I didn't care about, and I honestly didn't care if Deadpool saved him and let Cable kill him. So, to me, that was a big fault of the film. Again, I thought that it was very crowded. In story sense, okay, Deadpool goes around, he kills a bunch of people. Those people are then going to target the people he cares about, a.k.a. Vanessa. Okay, and that makes sense. But then those, heavenly flashbacks, dream sequences with the water, those didn't do for me at all. I mean, why? Why was that in there? Why? It goes back again, where they tried to force you to force Deadpool to care about this kid, and it just didn't work. It didn't make sense to me at all. What did work in this film, of course, was all the jokes. Like I said, very funny movie. Ryan Reynolds, when he's doing Deadpool, was great. Now, going on to some of the other casts, big one, Josh Brolin as Cable. Josh Brolin tearing it up this summer, not only as Thanos, but as Cable. He's got another film coming out, Sicario 2. He's just going to rule summer 2018. Cable is a very fan-favorite character. A lot of people have been waiting for him to see him on the big screen for a while. I like him. I don't love him, but I like him. He's got a great history, a great past, and they didn't touch on any of it. Okay? Granted, this is Deadpool 2. I'll give him some slack. They touched on a little bit about how he lost his wife and daughter, and I will give them credit that they actually mentioned Hope, aka Hope Summers. Just to go briefly into a little bit, Hope Summers is the first mutant born after House of M storyline, where 98% of the mutants were wiped out. The child was born, everyone was after her, the human purifiers, the X-Men, Mr. Sinister and his borders, and Cable got the child. And traveled around with the baby for many years until she became a teenager for her to survive. And then they traveled back to the present to do what they call the Second Coming storyline. If you want all the details on this, go read Messiah Complex, Messiah War, and Second Coming. Great trilogy of X-Men books. Go check it out. But in any event, throughout that whole storyline, as he and Hope were traveling through time, Cable did find a woman that he fell in love with and married her. And they were a family for a while until Bishop came along and killed his wife. So the whole storyline in there with, his daughter and his wife died, okay. They're hinting at the whole Messiah Complex or Messiah War storyline. I get it. It's not where I would start, though, with Cable. I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry, guys. I'm nitpicking here, but with Cable, his whole thing, his main beef, at least in the first half of his introduction, was with Apocalypse. And given the fact that they just had Apocalypse a couple years ago in the X-Men storylines, you could have woven that in there very easily, because a lot of the audience, having seen the X-Men films, knows who Apocalypse is. You could have interwoven that. We didn't get to see any of his future hardly at all. All we saw was his house, which looked pretty nice, and really no. And then, you have the whole thing with his robotic arm going all the way up. That's the techno-organic virus that's slowly killing him. And it was just so many things about that character they didn't get into. Introducing him, okay. So here's where they're at a crossroads with the Cable character. They can do an X-Force film, but their first inclination in an X-Force film is to continue with Deadpool as the main character. He's the most successful, the most popular, continue on with him. That would be a mistake. Not only is Cable the leader of X-Force, he's also the one with the best storyline, again, like I've said, that we haven't even begun to mention in this film at all. I get it, you had to focus on Deadpool in this film, but in Cable's next film, which supposedly Fox and other people, that they want to do more Cable storylines, that they have idea for Cable for several films, if they don't dive into that storyline of Cable, it's a wash, and I'm going to be severely disappointed if they don't get into the rich history that is Nathaniel Summers. Alright, let's see who else we got in this film. Zazie Beetz as Domino, quite lovely. She was the only member of X-Force to survive the parajump scene, and the way they displayed her powers, I think, were very good. Of course, Deadpool was doing the joke about, well, that doesn't look very visually. How can you visualize that mutant power? And you could tell throughout the film they were, trying to find a way to visualize how her powers work and her luck. So with that, you got Negasonic Teenage Warhead coming back with her girlfriend this time, Yukio, who really didn't serve a big purpose. That's the thing with this film. A lot of characters, a lot of people who didn't get their due. Negasonic didn't have a huge part in the first film, but there was so few characters that she shined more, as opposed to in this one, where I felt like her and Yukio were almost useless. Colossus, he served his part as trying to be that moral center for Deadpool, saving him. Probably a bigger part than what the other two were. But still, again, I get it. It's Deadpool 2. You focus on Ryan Reynolds. It was just, okay, Deadpool, let's give him a lot of jokes and then a mediocre story. It didn't work for me. I'm sorry. It didn't work. Other notable cameos, of course, T.J. Miller returns as Weasel. Miller's had a lot of problems lately in the news, so we'll see if he decides if he's going to come back, or if the studio decides he's going to come back for a Deadpool 3. Ryan Reynolds already said he's probably not going to be in an X-Force film, which makes sense. It's going to be a big film. You don't need this side character in there for that. Matt Damon. Did you notice Alan Tudyk and Matt Damon were the rednecks sitting on that truck that first saw Cable when he was coming through time? Shatterstar, a very popular member of X-Force, and I was severely disappointed that they killed him, because while I'm not a huge Shatterstar fan, I'm not going to act like I know all about him. But what I do know is that he mentioned Mojo World, which, again, another aspect of the X-Men universe that is so fun to explore, and Shatterstar could have been a way to explore that, lead to Longshot or even Dazzler, and, what they do with that? They threw that away. This is all assuming, of course, Deadpool has its own thing where it might exist outside of the regular X-Men continuity. In the post-credit scene, or the mid-credit scene, really, Deadpool had Negasonic fix Cable's time-traveling device, and he, went around, time traveled. He shot the original Deadpool from X-Men Origins. He shot himself, Ryan Reynolds, just as he was excited to do a Green Lantern film and several other things. He even saved his girlfriend Vanessa. Now, whether those things are now part of the X-Men canon, don't know. We'll have to wait till the next X-Men film or even the next Deadpool film before we fully realize if those were just jokes or actually happened. And then the funniest cameo of all, you had the Vanisher, this character who was pretty much invisible his whole time until his death, where he got electrocuted, and it was none other than Brad Pitt. I laughed my ass off at that part. I laughed my ass off on a lot of this. It was some great jokes. What you want from a Deadpool film is a lot of great jokes. But the story was lacking. Another character, Black Tom Cassidy. Great character. He's got a big relationship with Juggernaut, who is featured in this film. They're best friends and do a lot of jobs together. Again, they killed him off. Whether that's part of the X-Men storyline, I'd be disappointed if they took him out, because he's a good character, much like back in Days of Future Past. Continue the storyline from X-Men First Class. And what you find out that a lot of those mutants from First Class died, such as Emma Frost and Sean Cassidy, Banshee and the White Queen. Two great X-Men characters that they just threw out. Now, they could have done a bunch of things with those characters, but what they do, they just threw them out. Why? Why would you take that away from the tapestry of ideas that would come from those characters? I don't know. I'm getting worked up here. You know, I'm an X-Men fan, and I know how great the X-Men universe is. So when I see characters that I know can be great mistreated, it gets me a little upset. So to wrap up my review of Deadpool 2, because I've got something else I'm going to bitch about here in just a minute. The film was entertaining. A lot of jokes. You got some action. Ryan Reynolds was great as Deadpool. I was entertained as I was watching the film. But then when I left the film and started thinking about it bit by bit, I'm not going to buy this on Blu-ray. I watched the first Deadpool film the night before I went and saw the sequel here. And I'm glad I did, because there's several parts that they echo in the sequel, like that part where they're first trying to save Russell, and Deadpool gives him the whole 4 or 5 moments. That's what it takes to be a hero. That's the speech that Colossus gave Deadpool at the end of the first film, which I probably wouldn't have thought about if I hadn't reviewed it the night before. And then the music in the end credits, the X-Force music, that's the same exact song they used in the original Deadpool movie, except for they said Deadpool instead of X-Force in the song. Again, things I wouldn't have recognized if I hadn't watched the film the night before. So again, Deadpool 2, entertaining film. Go see it. I think you'll laugh your ass off. But for me, I don't know if I'm ever going to see this movie again, except for the fact that I want to see more Cable and Domino. Everything else was just, it fell flat for me as far as story-wise. And I want to see, especially Cable, used better in future films. And that's my hope. So, okay, guys. So, this next story I'm going to do in 2 parts. My first part is going to be as a child who grew up as Thundercats as his favorite cartoon series and first realizes what Cartoon Network is doing. The second part of it is going to be from a rational standpoint. Okay, ready? So, there was the first official announcement trailer that Cartoon Network put out for a new series they're going to do next year called Thundercats Roar. Now, this is a take on the 1980s cartoon series Thundercats. They had a remake back in 2011 as well on the Cartoon Network, which was a even more serious take than what the 80s cartoon was. Growing up as a kid, I loved Thundercats. It was my favorite show. I swear, that and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I claim those 2 as my favorites, and I love them. And anyone who tries to crap on them or ruin them, I'm going to come after you, okay? That being said, I saw this announcement trailer for Thundercats Roar, and what the F? What the F is this? Why? Why, God, why would you do this? What the hell? Oh my God! Why? Okay, I think that's out of my system now. So, this is a piece of crap. Kiddyish. Yes, I get it. In a sense, perhaps I know why they would do this, okay? My daughter loves the show Teen Titans Go. I watch it, and I can see why it's popular with kids. Because today's kids want fast-paced, high-octane, almost like seizure-causing shows of animation. I let it go, though, because I know Teen Titans Go, when I do watch it with my daughter, as much as silly crap I think it is, it also introduces her to all the DC characters. She knows all the Teen Titans. She knows Nightwing, Superman, Green Lantern, all these other characters. And I know it's a stepping stone for her to next, say, go to that Teen Titans show that came out years ago. I didn't watch it, but I know it was a more serious take to where she can step up to that in a few years when she's ready for more adult content. And then again, keep stepping up to, say, more serious like the films or the Arrowverse or something along those lines. I get it. That I understand. This, producer Victor Corright said that he grew up on Thundercats. But he said that in this trailer, his big brothers love Thundercats. He didn't say he loved Thundercats. He said his big brothers love Thundercats. Which means, yeah, you could watch a lot of Thundercats, okay? I've watched a lot of Midsummer Murders because of my wife watches it, okay? Doesn't mean I love it. Doesn't mean I appreciate it, okay? This, he's saying he made this show out of an appreciation for Thundercats? No. No, 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 no. 2011 Thundercats. That remake took the Thundercat lore and characters, did something different with it, and I thought it was highly entertaining. It lasted one season, but I thought it was highly entertaining. I thought the story was good, very good for people of all ages to enjoy a family show. This, they are taking Thundercats and dumbing it down to the lowest denominator. You could say kids, whatever, but this is something that Thundercats, if you're a kid right now, you might enjoy this show, but you won't fully get it. If this was something different, having loved Thundercats as a kid, I would sit my daughter down and say, hey, let's watch this show that maybe we can both enjoy together and both get something out of. I will get nothing out of this. She will get nothing out of it because she has no idea who Thundercats are, and I don't think it's that good of animation to where she's going to want to watch it. It boggles my mind who the hell thought of this. Oh my God. Ugh. Ugh. My heart hurts. My heart just hurts. Okay? It does. I don't know what's going on. Okay. All right. That's it, guys. Sorry to end you on such a down note, but I really just had to get that off my chest. I know I'd gone past my time, but I had to go into Deadpool, and I had to go into this, and just, have you seen this? Fire back on the comments or social media group or Gmail, and let me know how much you think this sucks, because I have yet to talk to anyone who thinks this is a good idea. And you know what? When this show comes out, I might just put it to the test. I might just sit my daughter down and say, hey, let's watch this, and you tell me what you think of this. And I'm going to think it sucks no matter what. I mean, I can already tell you I think it's going to suck. But if she likes it, maybe there's a little hope for it. But then that might make me more mad because I know what Thundercats could be and the rich storytelling of Thundercats and the characters that are phenomenal like Panthro, Chitara, Tigra, Wily Cat, Wily Kit, Snarf, which, by the way, side little storyline, Chitara, yeah, Chitara was it. Chitara was probably my first, like, yeah, giggity giggity kind of thing when I was a kid, but there you go. All right, guys, that is it for today. Time for you to fire back on the social media groups and Gmail account. Let me know, what did you think of Deadpool? Did you feel like it was a little lacking? Did you like it better than the first one? If you thought it was better than what I thought it was, that's okay. We're all entitled to your opinions. Give me some reasons behind it, and I will totally respect what you believe in, as we should as human beings. Also, Gyllenhaal, possible villain Mysterio. Excited? Not excited? That is it for me today, guys. I usually sign off with May the Force be with us all, but in honor of Thundercats and a proud Thundercats fan that I believe stands for what Thundercats should be, I will say Thunder, Thunder, Thundercats, ho!